What's up guys, I hope you enjoyed that intro because you're going to be learning how to create these amazing scenes in Midjourney yourself in this video. I've been making stuff like this for my clients, and a couple of weeks ago I posted a quick reel and it blew up for a small channel. It got a couple of thousand views. People said they would buy a course, and I was thinking about selling a course on how to do this, but I thought I want to grow my YouTube channel, and here it is, the entire course absolutely free. Just before we get into the course, a couple of things to go over. So first of all, we're going to be using Midjourney, Photoshop, After Effects and Premiere Pro. So you really do need the Adobe Suite. If you haven't got that, I've got a link in the description where you can get it at the best price for wherever you are. But the techniques I'm going to show you, you can do this with any image. We're just using Midjourney for the images. Second, you can do this however you want. You can watch the video for entertainment if you want to learn and then go apply it yourself. But what I would recommend is following through. So get your own image, follow along step by step, pause, rewind, whatever you need to do, speed it up, slow it down, flip the screen upside down, however you like to learn. Because at the end of it, you'll have a real project that you can go and show off. And that's how I advise to teach all my courses, because it's just what gets results. Obviously, it goes without saying that a like, a comment and subscribe if you find this helpful goes a really long way. And then finally, if you do like my teaching style, my courses, there's a link below where you can get a month free with me on Skillshare, where I've got other courses. There's a few notable ones: create Hormozy style reels in Premiere Pro. Everyone's doing these captions nowadays. There's a full-blown course on that. It's step-by-step, people getting great results. Create the perfect Fiverr gig if you want to get into freelancing. People have followed that course and literally quit their jobs. And then there's a full-blown A to Z of After Effects in there as well. But what I really want is to get into this course now. So just remember, all those links are below if you want to learn more. Otherwise, let's get into part 1 of this amazing course, which is getting into Midjourney. I'll see you on the other side. Alright guys, so the first thing you want to do is head over to Midjourney, which I spelled wrong, and we click on midjourney.com. You're taken to this page. So join the beta. Mine just takes me straight to Discord to log in. I wish I could show you the process. I tried doing it in an incognito window, but essentially what you do, you go over to discord.com, download the Discord, go to Midjourney, sign up, and then you log into Discord with Midjourney. So we're going to say for this example that you're already in Discord. So now in your Discord server, all you need to do is you need to send messages to the Midjourney bot. So on the side here, you're going to have Midjourney, and in direct messages, we've got the Midjourney bot down here. So you can see all of these images that I've been generating. So the first thing you want to do is get set up. So if you press right / and then settings / and S and settings, and you type the message, and this is how it works. It's all done through messaging. I've got use the latest model 5.2. I always use the latest model. Stylize high or low is how like fancy and cartoony or make things. Stylize low will go for more realistic things. I've got remix mode on, which gives me an option when I generate a new image to tweak things, to add and remove things. You don't need remix mode on. I would just keep this simple, follow along, get an image generated. High variation and low variation mode, the differences between those is how different are the 4 images going to be, or is it going to be 4 images quite close together. I've got it on low, you can have it on high, it really doesn't matter. I do purchase credits, I think I pay about $12 a month. I've never run out of credits. So anyway, those are the settings. You press / and settings to get there. When you're set up, now we're going to actually start adding some prompts. So let's just start simple. We're going to type / IM, and you'll see imagine at the bottom of the screen. We hit enter, and now it says prompt. You can get as descriptive or as basic as you like with this. You're always going to get something amazing. It's really incredible. But what we're really looking for here is we want an image basically with a nice foreground and a background, and maybe some things that we can animate. We'll start quite simple, but one thing that's really important to remember is there's a code for what aspect ratio you want the images to come out. So they're going to come out square by default, but we're going to make landscape in my example, but you can also make them vertical for reels. So let me show you how that's done. I want to make something colorful and exciting. So let's go imagine man with sword in hand looking up long path to a mountain. There is fire on top of the mountain. And then here is the code that's really important. After your comma, do a space, dash dash AR, space, and now whatever ratio you put in, it's going to give you images in that ratio. So we're going to go 16:9. Boom. Let's send it and let's see what Midjourney pumps out. And like I said there, you could do 9:16, you could do 1:1, whatever ratio you want the image to come out. Okay, so here's what we've got. These are incredible images. I think this one will be nice, this one in the top right corner, because we've got a foreground, a middle ground, a background, and we've got some lightning, so we can composite some lightning and stuff like that in later. I'm going to give you another example, something completely different, because I want you to create your own project. So let's put woman, happy and free in a field, lots of flowers, butterflies flying around, dash dash AR, 16:9. Again, be creative. I really want to see your projects as well. So remember, if you do share your projects and anyone likes it, send them back to this video. Okay, so check this out. Here's what we've generated. We've got some crazy images. This woman with lots of butterflies. I'm not sure that's a butterfly there. That looks like a bird with butterfly wings. Midjourney can do some really weird stuff, but let's do one more. You can also add styles, so let's go imagine and then 2 soldiers overlooking a battlefield, and now we can type any style, manga style, cartoon style, watercolor style. So I'm going to put manga style, which really doesn't make sense for this image, but let's see what it comes out with. Dash dash AR 16:9. Okay, this is a real nice. Look at this bottom left one. We can cut out these clouds. We can make these clouds move. We can pan up and show the battlefield. We can have glow in the background. We can do all sorts of stuff with this. So I'm going to start with this image and we'll work through it. Remember, the processes I'm going to teach you, you can apply to any image. So now to download this image, we've got 2 options here. We've got U3 and V3. U3 means upscale 3. It doesn't actually make the image any better than 1080p, but what it does is gives you the full quality image here. And then if we click web and then visit site, it's going to take you to a site where you can actually download the image. And we hit this little save button here, save with prompt, and you can see this is just downloaded. And now we open this up and boom, there's your image. You could also go to the home on this site. You can see all the images that you've previously downloaded. You can see I've done tons here. So these are all my images. And if you need inspiration, you can go to explore and have a look at these images. Even better, if you go to copy, you can copy the prompt. And now if you go back into Discord, you can just paste and it'll show you the prompt. I'm not sure what this person was going for when they searched this prompt, but there you go. So you can go right click imagine and you can take the prompt straight from other images that you find. And then finally you've got this V3. So if I click V3 here, usually V3 will just remix it and it'll give you some other options, but because I have got the remix mode on, I can add and remove things and do a bit of custom code there. They're more advanced prompts. Let me know in the comments if you want to learn more about advanced prompts. Let's hit submit. So you can see it's waiting to start here. We're going to drink some coffee because I'm a YouTuber. All YouTubers drink coffee, don't they? Apart from the ones who make videos on, you shouldn't drink coffee. Alright, so here we go. You can see that I've got multiple variations of that same image by clicking V3. So your first task, if you don't have Midjourney and you can't use Discord or whatever, go over to Unsplash or Pexels, get yourself a free image just to work with. There's loads of good stuff on there, and then we'll download that and we'll hop into part 2, which is where things get really juicy and we're going to jump into Photoshop and we're going to really mess these images up. So I'm going to go with image number 3 here. I'm going to upscale this one more time just to show you. Hit web, visit site, download, and I'll see you guys in part 2 in Photoshop. Alright guys, so we are back in the game. Now we're going to open up Photoshop and we're going to get in there and we're going to start cutting up our layers. So this is probably the most detailed, most complicated part, but it's really fun. So I'm on the Photoshop home screen here. I'm just going to drag my image in, and it's going to create a new scene with my image. It's going to create a new canvas with the image. There's a technique that we're going to do to basically, the process is to separate the foreground, the middle ground, the background, the objects, then delete where they were off the background each time. And I'll show you why. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to unlock the background here, and I'm just going to straight away rename this and call it background, this main layer. So now what we want to do is go up to our object select tool. So I'll show you a couple of the tools quick. So object select usually works pretty well. So what I'm going to do here is I want the trees, the men, I want them all selected. So I'm just going to go like this to start and see what it does. So you can see it's kind of selected here, which obviously isn't good enough. But if we drag around the men, it's done a really good job of grabbing the man here. So we could put the man on his own layer, but because the man is on the same part as this foreground, I want all this, the two men and the trees and this foreground all selected at once. So I'm going to press Ctrl and D to deselect, and I'm actually just going to go in and I'm going to get my quick selection tool. Now you can see the cursor is pretty small on the quick selection tool. So if I press left and right on the bracket button, it makes it bigger and smaller. So we're going to be really rough here, and we're just going to drag around like this, and you can see we've pretty much selected everything we want. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold if I hold Alt, I can remove the selection. So the game here is to essentially, I want to follow the edge. Obviously, this is the background. I'm just following the edge. It doesn't have to be perfect. Whatever tool you're using, the goal here is just follow the edge. And these smaller parts can get quite tricky. I click to add to the selection, and I hold Alt to remove from the selection. So I'm literally just going to follow the edge around now, like this. And I'm going to keep going until I've got the edge selected. Like I said, this is a more complicated one. You can make this simpler. You could just cut somebody out and cut the background out, but I already have an idea of what I'm going for. I am just going to use this magic selection tool and follow the edge, and we'll go down here, and you can see the if I press H, I can drag the hand, hold Alt and zoom in and out with the zoom wheel. And those are pretty much the tools, but then I need to get my object selection tool back. So obviously these skyscrapers are not included. So we want to follow the edge around here. You can use other tools and really refine this, but for the sake of this tutorial, I am just being quite rough. So you can see the tree is pretty much selected there. We could definitely make this better. But for now, I'm just showing you, I'm following the edge. So I come down here, this is part of this foreground, so I'll follow that edge. This isn't. So we press Alt. This bit is, this bit isn't. And we're just going to remove these selections and follow the edge all the way around. All I'm doing, following the edge, following the edge, following the edge, and we're going to cut out this foreground. So I'll probably fast forward this bit. Also notice the little gaps, you know, between the legs and things like that. I mean, you probably won't notice much, but it's just always worth considering as well that the gaps are actually in the background. We can scrub around and just scribble out this background, just being careful to only get the foreground in, following the edge, following the edge, following the edge. Drop a comment below if you're following the edge, because that really is the trick. And also, the more defined the edges, the easier this is going to be. If you had a tree with, that's why I picked this image as well, is it's got like really solid outlines, so it's going to be a lot easier than if I had like a realistic tree or things like hair with lots of like tiny pieces. It's going to be a lot harder to actually cut those out. Don't worry, it doesn't have to be perfect. I definitely picked a complicated one here. For the sake of keeping this tutorial concise, what I'm going to do now is just get on to the next bit and we'll fix anything later. So really important step here. We're going to right click. We're going to go layer via copy. Now you can see we've got another layer here, and we're going to call this foreground. I double click on it to change the name. Now if I turn it off and turn it on, you can see that you can still see it because obviously it's in the background. But if I move it, see how we've got two? And this can cause real problems later on, because when you're zooming in, you'll see multiples. So here is the magic trick. This is the bit you don't want to miss. You click on your top layer, the new selection that you want to keep. You go select, load selection. Okay, we've just loaded the selection of the foreground we've cut out. Now we click on the background, and then we right click. If it's not clicking, get a brush tool. Right click, we're going to go delete and fill selection. Okay, now check this out. It's all gone. So now if we zoom in, it's not going to cause any problems. Do you know how long it took me to work that out? So anyway, so there we go. So we've got our foreground cut out and it's looking pretty good. The same thing goes for the middle ground, the background, and anything else you want to animate really. So I think what we're going to do here is we're going to cut out the middle ground as well. So this is going to be the middle ground. Then we're going to cut out the clouds and the sky and the sun. And I think we can get a lot going on with that. If you find that there are some weird anomalies in the background and you want to clean anything up, there's a ton of ways you can do this. One thing you can do is clone stamp tool and say, imagine something looks a bit weird down here. I can click Alt, select an area, and then I can kind of clone a bit of the scene if I want to add like more of this black cloud down here, or if there's any bits that kind of look a bit off. Let's have a look. You've got the eraser tool where you can just really rub things out. Next thing I want to do, I'm going to hide my foreground layer, and now we're going to go and do the same thing, but look how easy it is for this one. We can put middle ground here, right click, layer via copy, and now we're going to replace this and we're going to call this middle ground. Obviously you can call it whatever you like, but we're going to go to middle ground, and now we're going to do the same thing again. So we go select, load selection, and then we click on the background, right click, delete and fill selection. Okay, so now look, foreground, middle ground. Yeah, it's a mess, but it's in the background. It's like you've already got the sky layer here, so we're kind of working backwards. The background is fine like this, and what I think I'll do now is I'm going to remove the foreground, and I just want to select these clouds. Look how easy it is when you select the clouds. Because there's a nice black outline, it's really easy to just select the clouds. So I'm going to right click, layer via copy, I'm going to put cloud left, select, load selection, click on the background, delete and fill, and now behind the cloud is all red. So when the cloud moves, you don't have two clouds. Now we're going to do the same thing, click background again, load this cloud, just the darker bit. We're going to go right click, layer via copy, and then we go cloud right. I think we're good like this for now, because I imagine the sun coming up, even though the bottom would be cut off here, it doesn't really matter because you won't see it. You want the ones closest to you at the top, because if I put foreground behind the middle ground, then obviously it's disappeared. So foreground, middle ground, clouds, background, and that is a great start. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go File, we're going to go Save As, and I'm going to save this in my folder, and I'm just going to call this Soldiers Example, and we're going to save that, and then we're going to open up After Effects, and I'll see you in the next part. Alright guys, now we are back and we're going to get into the really fun bit. So we're going to open up After Effects and we're going to bring our Photoshop in and we're going to manipulate it and make it look amazing. We're going to create a new project, and first thing, always do this with After Effects, because unlike Premiere Pro, it doesn't make you save a project, and if you don't make a save and you lose and it crashes, there's no auto saves because you haven't actually created a project. So I'm just going to create MJ here, and we've got a project set up. So now what we're going to do is we are going to go down to Midjourney YouTube here. I've got soldiers example. We're going to drag the Photoshop file into After Effects. You want to import as a composition. Quick reason why: footage doesn't give you the layers, and composition retain layer sizes makes all the layers different sizes, which is no good. So composition, editable layer styles. So now you can see if we double click the composition up here, we've got soldiers example, and we've got all our layers just like we laid them out in Photoshop. It's all ready to be animated. So look, I can move these soldiers around. So very important step, we're going to pre-compose each of these images for a good reason, which you'll find out later. So I'm going to pre-compose my background and leave all attributes in soldiers example. Pre-compose my cloud, pre-compose cloud left, pre-compose middle ground, and pre-compose foreground. Okay, pre-compose, done. Now we're going to make all the layers 3D by hitting the little box here. And now they're 3D. If we press P on any of our compositions, you can see we've got three variables: x-axis, y-axis, and we've got the z-axis, which is the one we're really interested in. The parallax effect that we want to create, the further back an image is, the slower it moves. So I'm going to just shoot out some random numbers here. Remember guys, you can play around with this, you can play around with the image, the distance, whatever suits you, but this sun is pretty far away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press P, and we're going to push this sun back, and to keep the numbers nice and round, if you want an example, I'm just going to put 5,000. So this is back 5,000. We're going to press S, scale up, and now we're scaling back up. And now if you look, if I go layer, new, camera, I've got a one node camera, because a one node camera, so it goes left, right, up, down, forward, back. A two node camera focuses on a point and moves around it, which isn't what we're going for. So one node camera, preset, let's actually make a 50mm camera. So now if I press P and I move the camera in and out, you can see the foreground moves, but the background doesn't move as much, which is great. Let's push the middle ground back, but we'll go halfway this time. We'll go 2,500, and then again, scale this up. So now if I push the camera, you can see we get more of a parallax effect. And I'm going to keep these soldiers in the foreground. I always keep the foreground at 0, because you don't need the complexity of, there's no point moving this and scaling it up. I keep the foreground at 0. I've got the middle ground at 2,500, and the background, if I press P on all of these, the background is at 5,000. Now we've just got the clouds left and right. And I think they're kind of in line with the middle ground, but a bit further back, not quite as far back as the sun. Let's try 3,500 for the clouds left and right. Press scale, and we'll scale them back up. And now let's have a look when we move this camera. So you can see we've got a really nice parallax effect. I feel like I want the clouds a bit closer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the clouds, I'm going to click P, and I'm going to bring them back a little bit. Let's go 2,000, let's go 3,000 for the clouds. Okay, so now when I move the camera, there we go. We've got a really nice parallax effect here. All right guys, so now we're nice and set up. It's literally just a case of playing with these keyframes. So we could go down here, we can zoom in. I like this motion. So what we're going to do is we're going to click P. We're going to go to 2 seconds, and we're going to drag it across, and we get this kind of motion, but it's a bit fast. So I'll drag the keyframe out, and now we can literally duplicate this camera. We can drag it across, and we can just make another scene. So we can remove these keyframes, and then we'll drag this camera over here. And it is just a case of playing around with the cameras now. I'm just going to cut my composition down to 5 seconds, trim the comp, and just have one camera motion. Let me know if you want a video on more advanced camera motions, but now we're going to make it even more special. So we've got this nice establishing shot where the camera is moving up. So let's just move the camera up a little bit like this. So now what we can also do is we can animate the clouds separately. We've got cloud left and cloud right here. So let's go to the end, hit P, and we can make position keyframes on cloud left and right. Now, if I move cloud right a bit, cloud left a bit, as the camera is coming up, we're going to see the clouds moving as well, which just gives it a really amazing effect. And now what if we wanted to add some lightning storms in on the horizon? Well, this is why we pre-compositioned our footage earlier. So I'm going to go over to this random website that you've probably never heard of, vecteasy.com. I have a discount affiliate link in the description, and I promise you, I've used Storyblocks, I use Artlist and ArtGrid for my music and stock footage, but for graphics and things like that, this is so cheap. And if I just go lightning storm and then change to videos, they've got videos, images, vectors. The amazing thing about this is, where I can't get stock footage and images in other places, I seem to get it here. I think this is really amazing and not a lot of people know about it. So I can get lightning storm here, and we can really start playing around with different kinds of graphics. So I could add some lightning in here. I really like this thunderstorm here because it's quite subtle. So let's download this one for now and we'll see how it does. So now what I want to do, I want the lightning storms in the background on the horizon, maybe over the city. So I'm going to double click, go into the background, and then I'm going to go to downloads, grab my lightning storm here, Control Alt Shift H or Control Alt Shift G, fits it to the right height. And you can see we've got this lightning storm, but it's kind of low. So we want to bring that up here. Now I'm going to change the mode to add, which is going to remove the black. So look at that. You can see there's a little bit of you can kind of see the border. So what I might do is I'm just going to cut roughly around the lightning, mask it out, and then I'm going to go to the mask. I'm going to press F and I'm going to feather this mask by 50. So now we just see the lightning bolt. So what I could also do is press duplicate, move another lightning bolt, add another one, and then duplicate again, and maybe move this one all the way across here. And we could even go layer, transform, flip, horizontal. So now we've got one a different way, so they look like different lightning storms. And now when we go back to our example, because we pre-composed this in the background, the lightning is going to stay 3D and follow the background. It looks like it's a bit high, so I'm going to bring them down because I want them to land behind the horizon. I think I want them to just be a little bit more subtle, so I'm going to change the opacity to 50%. Now, what if we wanted to add some fog just in front of them, but closer than the lightning? We can just type fog in here. This looks like a nice fog. I'm going to hit download now. I actually prefer this one, so I'm going to hit download now on this fog. It's a nice little subtle fog. So we're going to go into AE. We're going to go to the middle ground now. We're going to drag our fog in here and Control Alt Shift and H. Then we're going to go to add. And now you can see we've got our fog going across the middle of the battlefield. You can see that it's black, and you want to make sure you've got this little button pressed so that you don't get this blackness. So make sure you press that down there. Rasterize image, I think is called. So now you can see we've got the fog moving along nicely with the lightning storm. Now we're just going to add some sound effects. We're going to render it out, file, export, and render. Render this out to H264, and here is the final result. So guys, I hope you found value in this tutorial. Would you like to see a breakdown of how I edited the whole trailer together in Premiere Pro with the music, with the sound effects? If so, maybe I'll do a part 2 and I'll break down that whole Midjourney trailer sequence that you saw at the start of this video. Don't forget, guys, I'm putting this stuff out for free. Like, comment, subscribe, give me all the love you can, and I will give it back with amazing content. And if you want to learn more from me, remember you can get a free month with Skillshare, learn how to make reels, learn After Effects inside out, learn how to get paid on Fiverr for your amazing work. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.